20 miles east of Brussels, Leuven is home to Belgium's biggest and oldest university, but it's also a place with a remarkable history of Irish connections. Exiled Irish monks studied at Leuven's Catholic University back in the 1500s. Irish soldiers fought to defend this city when it was besieged by French and Dutch troops in the 1600s. After the flight of the Earls, the Earl of Tyrone, Hugh O'Neill, sought refuge here on his way from Ireland to Italy. Another notable Irish visitor was the young Daniel O'Connell in the days before he became the leader of the struggle for Catholic emancipation. So it was no coincidence when the university, now known as KU Leuven, was chosen by the Taoiseach as a suitable location for a lecture on the future of Europe.
There could be no better example of the advantages of EU membership for a small country like Ireland than the unequivocal support which we have received from other EU member states and European institutions in the negotiations on Brexit. Alone, Ireland is small, just an island of 5 million people. But together with our partners, 27 member states and Europe's institutions, we are very strong.
These research students were in the audience when the Taoiseach spoke. So do they think the solidarity other European states have shown towards Ireland will last?
Unity among the member states has been strengthened as a byproduct of Brexit, and especially obviously with regard, of course, with the Brexit and the Irish question. And so undoubtedly I think that will be something that we'll see continuing.
There has to be this understanding that the UK cannot have the cake and eat it too. But at the same time, we should really be there in solidarity with the Irish. I think it's really waiting to see how that can play out in practice, which way the balance will go. But I'm fairly convinced that the governments and the EU as a union really will stand with Ireland on this issue.
So far as Leuven's undergraduates are concerned, Brexit was a big talking point 2 years ago, but less so now.
It was a huge surprise. I think no one in Western Europe expected this result. Well, I surely didn't.
Now we're more talking about the Italian government or the problems in Germany with Angela Merkel, but the Brexit, I don't know. We're not talking that much about the Brexit anymore.
It's hard to imagine a more peaceful place in the sunshine, but during the 2 world wars, Leuven was a battleground. German soldiers destroyed many of its finest buildings, which have been painstakingly rebuilt. It's not just time which has proved a healer. The European Union itself was created as a way to try to guarantee peace. This heritage makes Europeans determined Brexit must not pose a threat to stability in Ireland, according to the professor who invited the Taoiseach to Leuven.
The British government seems to underestimate the impact Brexit might have on the return of violence or something different or something similar within Ireland. Nobody wants to go back to the period of the Troubles. Peace should be taken into account and should be a conditio sine qua non. It should not be, peace should not be the victim of a Brexit. So that's clearly a red line within the EU, and it's also 100% supported by the Belgian opposition.
Leuven has been home to many celebrated intellectuals, but none more so than this man, the Dutch philosopher Erasmus. His name lives on as the shorthand for the EU's student exchange scheme, which has enabled millions of young Europeans to get a taste of education in other member states. Leuven's Irish Institute brings groups from across Ireland to the city for a range of educational programmes. Its chief executive officer fears Brexit could have a negative impact on some of the institute's work.
The young people who study here and who work here more so, they are entitled to apply for Erasmus grants or for EURES. It's an EU youth employment initiative, and through both those programmes young people can come here. So in the absence of that funding, that would also be a difficulty.
The UK has pledged to remain in the Erasmus European Student Exchange Scheme at least until 2020. But as with so many other aspects of Brexit, academics here want more certainty about what will happen to research and educational collaboration after that. The man in charge at KU Leuven values its research links with British and Irish universities. He wants the least disruption to those contacts.
A hard Brexit would not only be very harmful for the British universities, but also to KU Leuven. So the softer the better, and no Brexit would be my preferential scenario.
Come on everybody, brewery for sale!
Apart from intellectual thinking, Leuven has a reputation for drinking. It's the home of Stella Artois and a host of lesser-known local brews. A soft Brexit may be what the people of Leuven crave in the long term, but for now they seem happy to settle for an ice-cold Belgian beer.